What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Gonna just jump in here today, do a little daily review, and just explain my trading style. Um, as you notice by the thumbnail, that's what we're here for today, is just explain how I trade. Um, over, you know, the 4 years that I've been trading, I've learned a lot from a lot of different people. Um, and we all have to find our own trading style and what works for us, what's comfortable with us, to be able to trade well. And um, I mean, I'm kind of a wide-ranging person, right? So I mean, I like a lot of different types of music. I like a lot of different types of movies. I like to do a lot of different types of things. Um, I play golf. I ride motorcycles. I scuba dive. I hike and camp. Um, you know, and it's even with my life, I've learned a lot of things. I was a real estate agent. I was a truck driver. I got my license for emergency medical technician. Um, you know, eh, I'm just a wide-ranging kind of person. So, just having one specific thing doesn't really work for me. For a lot of people, it does, and for a lot of people, especially when I take on somebody as a mentor, you know, I I start them off saying just learn one thing, get good at that one thing, and then you can expand your horizons and see if you want to add something to your trading, or if you just want to stick with that one thing. It's how I started, even though I'm a wide-ranging person. I s- I learned one system and I traded that system, and then I started branching out and finding other things. And basically, what I've come up with is just kind of a mishmash of all of it. I have several tools in my toolbox, and I like to use two to three of them um, to trade during the day. It gives me more opportunity. Sometimes one one trading setup isn't the right setup for the day. Sometimes another one is. So, having that in mind, um, it just makes me a better trader, I feel. Now, there is a caveat to that, right? If you have multiple tools in your setup, sometimes you'll miss a setup on one strategy because you're looking for something on another strategy. Or you might take the setup on the wrong strategy when it looked better at a little different location with a different strategy. So you got to kind of be mindful of that a little bit. Um, so let's just jump into it and I'll go over my charts first, right? So on my charts, I have 5 indicators. Okay. I have Lux Algo's immediate rebalance toolkit. I have the session volume profile. I have VWAP, and I have Spaceman BTC key levels, and I have 3 simple moving averages. Okay. Those are the indicators that I use. All right. And you can see, you know, the session volume profile, my moving averages, my VWAP. Okay. And these are the key levels. Okay. So mainly what I'm using is my moving averages, number one. Those are key. Those tell me everything I need to know about where the market is going, or if we're in chop, if it's in trend, if we're in chop. Um, it gives me, extension to see where pullbacks might happen. The second is the session volume profile. Now, I do pay a little bit of attention to low volume nodes and high volume nodes, okay? But for the most part, what I'm looking for in the session volume profiles is value area high, which are these gray lines, okay? Value area low, and the point of control. Those are the 3 main things I look at when it comes to the session volume profile, okay? In fact, I could probably just take this, the the volume profile itself off the charts completely and just have the points of control and the value area highs and lows. Okay. Um, Now, excuse me, VWAP, of course, is just a major level um, that we have to pay attention to. How far extended are we getting away from it? What happens when we get to it? Does it break through and hold for a continuation, or does it reverse off of it? Um, so we have to watch for those types of things. And then the key levels are just, I glance at them to see where we are in the day. Where was the Asia high, the London high, previous 4 hour high, low, Monday's range, the previous day's high and low and midpoints, things like that. Okay. And they are color coded. Monday's range is in black. Um, the current session and previous sessions highs and lows are in here. So this was Asia's high, um, London's high, all of that, previous 4 hour, and then the dailies are in the dark blue. So we've got the previous day's midpoint, previous day's low, previous day's high. Okay. Um, so these are the types of things that I will look at. I give a good bit of importance to previous day high and low. The rest of it, I just kind of see what price is doing when we reach those levels, right? Um, I don't give them a whole lot of credence. So, but my main one is the moving averages. Okay. Now I have the rebalance toolkit on here, and I'll I'll show you what it is. I'll zoom in on one of them so you can see what it is. Um, but these, have need to happen in a certain area for me to kind of give them weight as a confluence in the trade, right? So basically what you see is this candle makes a wick, this candle closes lower, this candle starts lower than the wick, but it pushes into that wick, okay? And that wick is divided into uh, 25, 50, and 75% increments. Okay. So basically, it has to push into the wick and then close below the body of this candle in between the wicks, right? And that will give you a tradable signal or not. Now, sometimes, even though it does its job, it will say don't trade here. This is caution because this means it's going into a certain area that could be a reversal area, the candle itself. Okay, so when this candle closes, it is going into the point of control from a previous day, right? But if we were to look at a higher time frame, it might be going into a fair value gap. It might be going into a supply or demand area. Um, so we're you have to pay attention to what kind of a signal it gives. Is it an X or is it an arrow? Down here we had one that was an arrow. Didn't have much above it that it saw that would cause it to hit and reverse. And of course it does go ahead and continue. Um, so we have to pay attention to those. I like these in an area where we're coming down to a swing low because what this tells me is that there is enough of a push there that we can at least expect to break the swing low and then see if it's um, a liquidity sweep for reversal or it just continues. So, from that candle is 071 to that low is 037. So not quite 40 points, about 30 points. But that would be a really nice trade, okay, depending on your size and everything else. So I do pay attention to these when they show up. Where are we at? What am I looking at? We had already just reversed and gotten past the 21 simple moving average. So this is one I would like to take, especially since we had just come off of, uh, yeah, we had just come off of the previous day's high. Okay, so that was an area that I was looking to take a short, um, and actually did take a short and made um, profits coming back to the day's point of control. Okay, um, so that is basically what I have on my charts, and that's what I'm paying attention to. Okay, there's a couple other things that I will put on my charts. Okay, one is an anchored VWAP. Okay,
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
these VWAPs change. Okay, these are anchored VWAPs. So um, this one here, okay, is my 2-day VWAP. Okay, so on today's trading session, this VWAP was anchored at yesterday's open at 9:30. Okay, so now that today is over, I have to move this VWAP over to today onto the 9:30 candle. Okay, and that is previous day. Okay, and you'll see the color changes in those. Um, one is the all-time high, and actually I need to change previous day because it's a little too close um, to that. Let's see, something that's a little bit more visible. Yellow works. All right, so we'll save this as previous day. Okay. All right, and then I have the all-time high VWAP. Okay, this one I need to take off. So I will use basically two anchored VWAPs for longer term, all-time high and previous day. Okay, then there are throughout the session I add VWAPs in, right? So number one is going to be the high and low of the day. So if I put it on this candle for the low of the day, and I go and set my template for day high or low, that is a white VWAP. Okay. Now, how these work is basically I'm looking for who's in control. Buyers shot the market all the way back up, and if buyers wanted to stay in control and keep buying this up further, they would stay above the low of day VWAP because once this is an average weighted price. Once price drops below that VWAP, the average buyer in the market is now in a negative, in drawdown, and either needs to get price back above that VWAP or get rid of their position. So this is how we pay attention to these VWAPs. Okay, so you'll see the low of day, once we come below and hold it, okay, buyers cannot get us back above that average price. The market starts selling off and going lower for the rest of the day. Okay, so these are very important VWAPs that I need to have on my charts. I will also have a high of day VWAP. Okay, so that if we come back to that one, let me just go ahead and throw it on here, up here at the high of day. That way, um, and that was, wait a minute. Oh, I'm on a 1 minute chart. Dummy me. Okay, let me take that one off and go back to a 4 hour chart here, and let's get our all-time high uh, on the chart so that we can get that taken care of. Excuse the dog. All right, so this is our all-time high VWAP. I don't know how or why that one got moved, but now we'll go back to our 1 minute. Um, and you can see our all-time high VWAP is up here. So this morning we jumped back above the all-time high VWAP, tried to push higher, ended up coming back to it, and ended up falling through, retesting one more time, and then fell off for the rest of the market. So all of these VWAPs are very important, along with the moving averages. Okay, and that's how we will see or have an educated guess of which way price is moving. So, all right. So what setups do I actually look for? Well, again, these VWAPs are one of the major setups. But right off the open, we had a very good setup this morning. And what I am looking for, this is my simple moving average strategy, right? So we have a 21 and a 200 moving average. That's all I need on the charts. And when they are in a narrow state, so they're close together and relatively flat, I mean, the 21 is going to move a bit, but you can see that the 200 is relatively flat. And we get a big push that breaks to the upside of both the 20 and the 21. Doesn't matter that price is below it. Once we have that big push up, then we have to start looking. Now, the entry on this would be when this candle pushes down or pushes up and then comes down, but then holds the 200. As soon as this next candle breaks the body of that down candle, you could enter along there. Okay. Um, and we come up, we pull back to the low of day VWAP. We're also at the New York VWAP. Um, but we come back, and if I'm entering here, then my stop is below the 200 somewhere. And I typically have about a 50-point stop on the YM. So we don't come anywhere near our stop, and then we get a push back up that closes above the daily VWAP, okay? And then we test it again and we break above again. At this point, you can actually add to your trade. Pull your stop up below the New York VWAP, okay, and take off from there. Now, I'm on electronic trading hours, so this isn't the New York VWAP. It doesn't start at 9:30. It starts at 6 p.m. In the overnight session. Um, I just call it the New York VWAP. So, and then we just take off. All right, get that out of the way. At that point, price just takes off up to the point of control. Now you could have added here and taken profits at the all-time high VWAP because we did have a massive fall off yesterday. So you might have been worried that the all-time high would reverse, take a little profit off there. Once we fair value gap through it, then you could be looking to take off profits up here at, well, that is today's point of control. Let me go back because yesterday's point of control is up here. So you could actually hold through this consolidation right here, expecting price to go back up to the previous day's point of control, which we did. We also went up to yes, the previous day's high, as you saw here, and just tapped the previous day's high. And this was the previous day's value area high here. So we just tapped previous day's high and fell off. Okay, back to the low of day VWAP and back to today's point of control. Bounced up, couldn't really get any strength off the 21 here to continue higher and fell down and fell back below the 200, fell back below point of control, fell back below low of day VWAP 2-day VWAP, and eventually, um, or all-time high VWAP, and eventually fell back below New York VWAP. So, and then ended the day almost back down at the New York Open. Okay. So you can see how those all kind of work in tandem together, and that's why um, I use a couple of things um, that have more weight than others. So my SMAs definitely carry the most weight. Um, you know, this was a very vertical move, and then we just kind of grinded up till we got to this specific point. And from here, we are pretty extended from the 200. Okay. Now the 200 is rising and they eventually meet, but we did come down and then kind of chop around until the 200 got there. And then we broke below and we're staying below our VWAPS at this point. Okay. So any one of these VWAPS, once you retested it and it rejects, we didn't go through it, you could take a short from that area, giving yourself, myself, I give a 50-point stop. So even this pushback up would not have gotten me out, I don't think. Um, let's see. If I had gotten in on this retest here, 50 points is well up above that. Okay. Um, I could have even gotten in after we came back down. That would not have worked. Yeah, I would have gotten stopped out there. Um, but even if I get stopped out on this trade, then I'm still looking to get back in, right? But really, what I'm looking for, since we did push up so high, the main VWAP that would have the most confluence for me to trade at would be once we got below the low of day VWAP. Okay, so we hit New York, we bounce off, we come back up, it holds low of day VWAP, back to the New York, up to there. Then we finally break through New York VWAP. And when we retest and start to fall back below, this would have been a very nice trade right here. Okay. Um, and that trade in itself would have been once we broke that low right about there, come back down to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is where I'm going to be out of a trade regardless of where I'm at, is a 200-point move. Okay. Because at that point, once I'm in the trade, my 20 is facing down. We are below the 200, and we just continue that trend along the 20 SMA all the way back down to the low of almost the open or the low of this trend before we pop up at the end of the day, right? So um, that's pretty much how we do it. All right. So today I was getting one, I missed our power move off of the narrow state between the 20 and 200. Um, and then we got the pullback. And when we got to all-time highs, I actually went ahead and put in a short there without um, seeing if we were going to continue a reverse, getting confirmation on the move. I just anticipated it because of the big flush we had yesterday, but this market was super bullish and pushed through that for a stop out there. Um, and then again, when I saw uh, the candles push off of previous day's point of control, tried a short there. It failed here. Um, Tried to push lower, but then we finally came up, broke the high of day, and touched previous day's high. Took a short from there, and that is where I made my money back down to the low of day VWAP. Okay. And I literally just jumped in the short. I didn't wait for it to reverse. I put in my order as soon as we touched the previous day's high, and that was uh, almost a 200-point move right there. Okay, so you just have to uh, pay attention to your levels, pay attention to your VWAPS, pay attention to your simple moving averages. Yes, sometimes it's a lot to take in, but don't worry about missing a move. You'll have pullbacks that you can jump into if you see that price is doing what it should be doing to move in the direction that you're looking at it to move to. And of course, we're not looking to catch the entire move anyway. It's fun when we do, but we're not looking to have to make that entire move. We can catch part of that. I mean, that's a 200-point drop. You could catch 100 points of that. You could catch 50 points of that. Um, you can just take it back to try your short there, take it back to the previous low. That's 136 points, right? All right. And this is on a 1 minute chart. So you have plenty of opportunities uh, to trade. And that's what I like about taking a few tools and using them in the markets instead of just trying to focus on one specific trade. Now, my immediate rebalance, let's just go over that real quick. I'd use that on a higher time frame, at least a 5 minute time frame. Okay. Um, and what I'm basically looking for on the immediate rebalance is uh, about two candles worth of price action. Okay. So here, um, I'm really not looking. Um, we get an immediate rebalance to the upside here, right? And I'm really not interested in taking this long because we just broke below VWAP, broke below the daily high or the all-time high VWAP, and we're below the New York VWAP. So I'm looking for a retest to see if this holds and we go short. Okay. Um, but here, okay, we get an immediate rebalance that closes right here, and that's enough room back down to the New York VWAP for me to actually take a trade. Okay, so that right there, off of that immediate rebalance, at the close of that candle back to VWAP is 6.75 points. Okay, this is the ES. All right, so 6.5 points on the ES is a really good trade, and I'm more than happy to take that. Um, if we're looking at YM and we move to a 5 minute chart, you'll see that we have plenty of areas. Now this one's set to trade, um, but again, we just broke below. I'm not sure if they're going to hold. I want to wait and see if they hold. And yes, maybe I do miss this move, or I jump in when it gets below VWAP, uh, but I'll look for those. And off to the side, I keep the YM and the ES on 15-minute charts on another monitor. So, and those also have the immediate rebalance on them as well. Okay, so we're always looking at those uh, as well. So right here, we get an immediate rebalance. We get the pullback to the New York VWAP, and then we go and we have a color change. As soon as this candle here crosses these bodies after an immediate rebalance and a retest of the VWAP, I am definitely looking to go long. Okay. I'm not just going to jump in the long here. That would be too wide of a stop loss. But I would jump in that trade somewhere. Or when I see that rebalance, I'm looking at the 5 minute YM chart. Uh, let's just go. Let's just go to the the 1 minute there. This rebalance happened at midnight. Um, or the 12:15 candle to 12:30 candle. So let's just go take a look at that and see. Um, this is on regular trading hours. Yeah, let's go to electronic. All right, and let's just find midnight. Okay, so right around here is midnight, um, and this happened again at, from 12:15 to 12:30. Okay, so we're right in this area. We push down, and then we push back up. Uh, yeah, and that was a 15-minute, right? Yep. So 12:30, and then um, doesn't exactly look right, does it? Oh, well, that's why. 27th. That was 26th and the 27th. Okay, okay. Now we can look at it a little better. Get on the right day, man. Okay, so 11. Okay, we had our push down. We come back up. So 12:30 or 12:15 to 12:30. Right in this area here. We push up a little bit. We come back down, and we're testing VWAP, right? Uh, and then we have our push. This is all of our down movement. And then we have our push up that breaks the highs. Get in there, risking below the 21, and you catch the rest of the move back up, okay, on a lower time frame. So seeing these rebalances on a higher time frame, we'll take a look at the lower time frame and see if we can catch that trade. Now, obviously, I wouldn't be looking at the 1 minute chart here because it's way too broken up. But the 5 minute time frame certainly would be a lot different. Okay. There's a little bit, there's still some gaps there, but it's a little bit more consolidated, and you can see a little bit better of what's happening. Retest VWAP, it holds, it breaks the highs. You get in on that 5 minute candle, risk below the candle, and catch the rest of the move back up. Okay. So that's how I use those. All right, so that's about 35 minutes of you just completely threw all the lighting off on my video. Um, yes, Missy, what? You want to say hi? Uh, you want to say hi? Say hi. Say hi to everybody. You know, just gonna lick the camera. Yeah. All right. Oh. So anyway, everybody, that is it. Just wanted to come in and uh, re-explain my trading setups and what I have on my charts and how I look at the markets um, for those that are interested in that kind of thing. So for now, that will do it. And we still have one more day of trading this week, tomorrow. So I will be on in the morning and looking forward to a good trading session. I think we could have we've got some good volatility in the markets because FOMC gave us another rate cut. Um, all of the uh, Mag 7 that have reported have come out pretty good in their earnings statements. So, you know, Does 48,000 kind of become the top for a little bit? Um, or do we go ahead and bust through that at the end of the week for new all-time highs in this week? We will see tomorrow, and I will be on the charts for it. So come by and watch me trade live. I appreciate everybody that's come in and subscribed to the channel, those that view the channel on a periodic basis. And if you don't mind, if you haven't already, hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and throw in a comment. Tell me what you think about my trading style. If you got any questions, throw them in the comments. I will certainly reply to them. And until tomorrow, stay safe and God bless.